My name is Anna Sobek. I am the head of Department of Environmental Science at Stockholm University, and I will moderate this open house. And I will start by telling you a bit about the plan for today. So first, I will give you an overall program structure. What is this new program? Why do we think that you want to take it? And why do we offer it? Then my colleague Alistair Skelton will tell you about semester 1, so the first 30 credits course, and why you will want to take this, what makes this so special. After that, another colleague of mine, Sophie Haslett, will talk about the transdisciplinary stream, which runs in parallel to the program, which you know nothing about right now, but that you will soon learn that, oh, wow, this sounds exciting, hopefully. Then we will have presentation of the different study tracks that we offer for admission in 2025. And we will give you information about how to apply, all the practical information that you need for that. And finally, we will have a Q&A session where we will do our very best to answer all your questions. And you can add questions, enter questions into the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. So please do that, enter the questions, and then you can, if you see questions that also is what you want to ask about, you don't have to say the same thing again. So you can just vote up questions from other potential students, and then we will pick them. And if we don't have time for all the questions, we will send out answers to these questions after this open house. I also should say we record this. So for your information, none of you potential students will be visible or will be heard as we use the webinar function of Zoom, but just so that you know. Okay, so this is a new master's program, and creating a new master's program is a lot of work. Doing that 11 universities together is even more work. And then finally doing it in a transdisciplinary way so that we integrate all different disciplines basically into the program. Wow, this is even more work. So why do we do that? We have to have a really good reason to do so. And we have, and I say unfortunately we have. So the triple planetary crisis was described by the United Nations in 2022. It is climate change, air pollution, biodiversity loss. These are all by themselves enormous challenges to society, to the Earth, of course. They also challenge Earth systems. They are also intertwined. So climate change affects air pollution, affects biodiversity loss, and in all different directions. Of course, there are no quick fixes to any of these challenges, crises. And understanding these complex problems requires integrating many different disciplines, understanding how they affect society and human behavior. Well, here we need to go even broader, and then also develop viable solutions, sustainable solutions. Well, we have to integrate more than one discipline. This is why we need to work transdisciplinarity. And of course, these crises are, they don't follow national borders, so we have to work in an international way. This is why we have created a master's program in Transdisciplinary Studies of Climate, Environment, and Energy, TRACEE. It is an international master's program, and you see all the universities that are involved here in Europe, and we have also associate member universities, partners on the African continent. Some of them you will meet if you take the program as teachers at the first course or in one of these study tracks. So here is the information about the structure of the program. So it starts with semester 1, 30 credits, building the foundations, and Alistair will tell you much more about this soon. This is a transdisciplinary course, meaning you will learn about climate, energy, and environment from perspectives of natural science, social science, humanities. You also study together. Then you move into the study tracks. And for 2025, 6 study tracks will be open for admission. So for instance, then if you select the first study track, environmental humanities and law, you will, during that first semester, you will study in Salzburg in Austria, your environmental humanities and law. And then the next semester, number 3 of the program, you will study environmental humanities and law in Bucharest in Romania. So the study tracks offer you, then after having studied transdisciplinary during the first semester, the study track offers you the option to go deeper into your discipline. Unless you select the transdisciplinary approaches to climate change. Here you deepen your understanding and knowledge about transdisciplinarity. The fourth semester then is a 30 credits independent research project working on a real-world challenge. So this is the degree projects. Here you will work and do this at one of the partner universities of your study track. And here you will then address a problem, a challenge from a transdisciplinary perspective, building on all the knowledge and skills that you gained through the program so far. Depending on what study track you take, you will get a multiple or joint degree. Here you see at the very bottom, it says continuous transdisciplinary stream. And Sophie will soon tell you more about that, but this is then running alongside the program. And here you will be provided support to really learn about transdisciplinarity and the methods that are used and the theories that are used, and also in order to define and select and develop a good project for your 4th semester. The program starts with a joint kickoff where you will meet with teachers, us teachers, online or on site. You will be provided with all the information you need in order to understand and really thrive throughout the program. And at the end of the program, we will have an end of program conference where you, students, will present the results and the outcome of your degree projects. And you will present this to your peer students, of course, but also to us teachers and to stakeholders. So actors from society that have been part of the program. So in short summary, this program is open to everyone with a bachelor's degree. So you might have a bachelor in chemistry, it might be in law, or humanities, or in arts. You're all welcome to take this program. We want it to be a very diverse group of students. It is offered by 11 universities in Europe. We have partner universities in Africa as well. The first semester is at Stockholm University. And here I say together, because we have developed and will teach this course together. So all the 11 universities together with partners in Africa as well. So it is together, and also you will take it together. So you come from your different disciplines that you studied during your bachelor's, but you will take this course together. And it is transdisciplinary. So you will together learn about climate, environment, and energy from transdisciplinary perspectives. For 2025, 6 different study tracks will be open for admission, and you will study at different universities, as you saw in the infographics on the previous slide. And the different study tracks, as they then are disciplinary, they might have special qualifications as prerequisites. Semester 4, it's a 30 credits independent and transdisciplinary degree project. And we have the transdisciplinary stream to help you develop the skills that you need for your degree project. Admission opens on February 17th, on Monday. And we so much look forward to teach and learn together with you in this program. There is more information on civis.eu, and I hope many of you will be interested in applying to this program. With that, I stop sharing my screen, and I welcome my colleague Alistair Skelton to present more about semester one.
Thank you so much, Anna. I'll also begin by sharing my screen. And if I've done this correctly, you're now seeing my screen.
Perfect.
That's lovely. So, my name is Alistair Skelton, and I'm here to welcome you to semester one of TRACEE. I'm one of your educators. A little bit about me. I've done research for 30 years on geology, which is the study of rocks, basically. I've done research on earthquakes, and I've done research on climate change. I spent part of my life doing research, part of my life doing teaching, and part of my life doing public outreach, talking with the community about the challenges that Anna was telling us about earlier, the planetary challenges and the crises that we're facing. Semester one is about realizing what we would like to think of as the vision of TRACEE. And the vision we see for TRACEE is that we want to bring together students from all over the world. We want you to have backgrounds in natural sciences, social sciences, law, or humanities, or some other discipline you've thought of. And we want to give you the opportunity to become transdisciplinary graduates who can tackle the world's most pressing challenges. And these are climate change, energy, and the environmental crises that we're facing. For semester one, we're going to welcome you to Stockholm University. This is a truly beautiful university in a wonderful northern city. This is Stockholm University in the spring with the cherry blossoms blooming. And it's one of them. I've been in this country for 25 years and I truly love it. And I think you'll love it too. It's also a city, it's a winter city. It's a city where you ski on the lakes. It's a city where you skate on the lakes. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. You'll enjoy being with us. It's also the home of Svante Arrhenius. Svante Arrhenius is the chemist who wrote down the equation that describes that the burning of fossil fuels causes climate change back in 1896. It's also the city where the youth movement began, the youth movement for climate. It's also the city where the IPCC, that's the organization that conveys the science that we know about climate, from all of our disciplines to policymakers. It was also born in this northern city, which we hope to welcome you to. So there, of course, are lots of learning goals with any course, and semester one is one course. And I've summarized the learning goals with just two phrases. What we want to happen during semester one is that you learn to speak each other's academic languages. You learn to communicate with each other from the disciplinary backgrounds that you have, explaining for each other what this mess of terms actually means, that we struggle so that none of it means anything to us until we learn these languages. So we intend to see meteorologists speaking with lawyers on terms that they understand one another. And our vision is that you will be equipped to create knowledge together with communities to take on the crises that we are facing. I'm just one of a huge team of educators bringing you semester one. We are in total 39 professors who will be educating you in semester one. And those 39 professors span a huge range of disciplines: environmental science, biodiversity, eco-pedagogy, politics, history, chemistry, health, hydrology, zoology, law, and so on. If you don't find your discipline on that in that word cloud, it's because I didn't manage to write all of them in. There wasn't enough space. The educators for semester one come from 12 universities, 11 of which are in Europe and one is in Africa. And they will be here some of them will be here on site in Stockholm. Others we will be live streaming to you with one of our own Stockholm University educators in the room with you. The structure of semester one, which is the beginning of TRACEE, involves, it's a 30 ECTS course, and it involves 5 blocks: system thinking, natural science perspective, social science perspective, humanities perspective, and transdisciplinary methods. In the first module, systems, system thinkings, and history, we're going to use the concept of systems to introduce you to thinking in an interdisciplinary manner. I'm a geologist. The word system means something completely different to me as what it does to an economist. We will be teaching you the history of systems thinking, and we'll be using lots of hands-on methods. Here you see a group using the wonderful tool Climate Fresque to try and relate to and understand what a system actually means. In the natural science perspectives module, we'll be looking at climate system, we'll be looking at feedbacks, we'll be looking at energy and matter. We'll teach you what you need to know to understand them. We'll be looking at the environment and biodiversity. We will take you to locations around Stockholm. We'll take you out in the field. You'll spend time in our beautiful islands, looking at the rocks, visiting the place where lithium, the element that underpins the transition, was first discovered. This will be followed by the social science perspectives module, where you're going to learn about economics, politics, environmental law, communication, education, and behavioral change. You'll be taught by people who've spent time at these massive conferences, the Conference of the Parties, where the future of our planet is being decided once a year. You'll meet those very experts and participate live. You will create your own Conference of the Parties scenarios. In the humanities perspectives section, we'll look at history, we'll look at literature studies, philosophy, and how they relate to environmental thinking and the paradigms that we find ourselves in and maybe need to break free of. You will again be met by a team of scholars from across Europe. And in the transdisciplinary method section, this is where we're going to go from interdisciplinarity to transdisciplinary learning, where you'll be looking at how do you create knowledge, not for communities, not to communities, but with them, working with them and respecting their different cultural contexts. Where do they come from? What is their space? Aim of TRACEE is to prepare you for the Anthropocene. That's the geological time which we have now entered. I envisage that in the end of this, you will be able to hold this rock in your hand. This rock can be mined in Sweden. It contains 6% rare earth elements. Those are the elements that underpin the transition, yet it's in a highly environmentally sensitive area. So there's a huge conflicts as to whether it should be mined or not, despite the fact these rocks themselves would take care of the transition in Europe for 25 years. You're going to learn why there's challenges. Why is it difficult? What to take on the challenges of the Anthropocene. We hope to prepare you for a career working in solutions for climate, environment, and energy, or perhaps you want to move into research. Transdisciplinarity is a new exciting field, and it's so relevant for climate, environment, and energy, a field that spans all fields. We warmly welcome you to Stockholm on the 1st of September 2025. On behalf of Civis, Stockholm University, all of our partners, I thank you and I welcome you here, and you'll find more information on the Civis website. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alistair. And with that, the chat or the Q&A is open. We have one question there, so please enter more questions if you have. And I welcome Sophie Haslett to talk more about the transdisciplinary stream.
Thank you very much. Okay, can I just check with you, Anna, that this is shared correctly?
Yeah, perfect.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Yes, so hello, my name is Sophie, and I will be a lecturer during semester one. I'm a researcher at Stockholm University. But what I'm actually here to talk to you about today is the transdisciplinary stream. So this is kind of one of the ways that we will build up your transdisciplinary skills throughout the master's program. So I just want to start by reiterating something that Anna and Alistair have already talked about, which is kind of what is a transdisciplinary master's program and why are we taking this approach? And I think in sitting down together and looking at the challenges that exist at the moment in the world, we've realized that the kind of traditional approach where you come and you learn something in a specific subject area and then you go away with a lot of knowledge is not enough really to approach these things. So we want to focus our master's program on building up the skills essentially to be able to approach novel problems. So our focus will be on practicing critical thinking skills, on learning to collaborate between fields and sectors, because I think at the moment one of the biggest challenges is being able to get people together in a room who speak different languages in a literal sense and academically, and building up the ability to communicate. And also we'll be developing the tools to solve complex real world problems like the ones that Anna and Alistair have already talked about. So we're looking at kind of building you up to a place where you can look at a completely fresh new problem and know how to start approaching it and what to do, rather than building you up with lots of knowledge in a specific area. So it's about building these transdisciplinary and kind of more open skills. Which brings me to what is the transdisciplinary stream? So as Anna said earlier, you'll be starting in Stockholm University during semester 1 and taking this course, which will cover a very, very broad range of perspectives. In semesters 2 and 3, you'll be more specialized in your own specific discipline. And then in semester 4, again, you'll be taking a transdisciplinary master's project. But what we will do is we will link all of this together in the transdisciplinary stream, where you'll kind of get the opportunity to build up these skills. And what this literally will look like is a series of 1.5-hour sessions, 1.5-hour sessions occurring roughly once a month. And these will be seminars, workshops, discussion groups, and so on. So the purpose of the stream is to show you transdisciplinary thinking in action across different sectors, which will involve interacting with different people, both within and outside of academia, to learn about how they use transdisciplinary thinking. In a more practical way, it will also be to help you kind of prepare to do your thesis project and to connect with someone who will supervise that. And it will help you to develop skills to work together as a cohort, as a team, and with the wider community as well. And there will be input. These sessions will be hosted by different universities across Europe, and you'll be kind of learning from professionals inside and outside academia across Europe as well. So in practice, this will involve guest speaker seminars where kind of external stakeholders, people will come in who do various different things, different jobs, and they will talk to you about what they do, how they approach these big problems in their particular kind of fields. There'll be student supervisor workshops where you can learn about the research that's going on in civis universities, and you can find someone to contact with to do your thesis with. And there will be student-led sessions that you'll lead yourselves where you can share results, ideas, and problems with one another. And all of this will be building towards helping you choose a transdisciplinary thesis project that you'll carry out during the final semester somewhere in Europe. And this is kind of, what do we mean by this? And what we mean is you'll be doing a project that looks beyond the disciplinary lens. So it's looking beyond just your own subject, but it's focusing on a real world problem. And across the different fields and the different disciplines, this will look very different, but it may include things like involving stakeholders from outside academia. It may include using methods from different fields or carrying out research across different fields. It will almost certainly include real-world oriented objectives. And we hope that many of them will include results that can actually feed back into the community and be useful. And if you're working with investigation subjects, the transdisciplinary approach means that they will actually be involved as collaborators in the research. Which brings me to what you'll gain from completing the stream and completing your project. So what will you kind of leave this program with? And you'll leave with an understanding of how these kind of complex transdisciplinary problems related to climate, environment, and energy are really solved in the real world in different ways. And at the same time, you will gain the skills to be able to contribute towards these solutions yourself. You'll become part of a multidisciplinary network of people across Europe and across the world from the different people that you'll meet during the program. And you'll gain the tools to be able to make the most out of the master's program by designing and carrying out a transdisciplinary master's project. So yes, as Anna and Alistair have said, we very much look forward to welcoming you to Stockholm University in semester 1 and to work with us throughout in the transdisciplinary stream. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. And we are keeping time. This is amazing. So then we turn to the study tracks, and we will start with environmental social sciences, which will be presented by Todd. Go ahead, Todd.
Is this displaying correctly?
Yes, it does.
Okay, fantastic. Good morning, everyone. So nice to see so many people online here. And so let me just explain a little bit who I am. I'm Todd Ehlers. I'm a professor at the University of Glasgow, and I'll also be one of your instructors in semester 1 at Stockholm University. And I'll be talking about helping you understand climate and how we know climate is changing and kind of the nuts and bolts of that. So what you've heard about so far is a lot about the kind of the breadth and learning how to communicate across disciplines that will occur in semester 1. And what I'm presenting, I apologize, it's a little bit out of order. We're going to start with study track 2 instead of 1. But then what happens in the semester 2 and 3 is that you move abroad to 2 different universities in each of these semesters. And this is where we want you to learn a specialization. And the specialization will be around an area or disciplines that are of interest to you and speak to your background. So what I'm doing here today, I'm going to present to you study track 2, which is titled the Environmental Social Sciences track. And then immediately following this, I'll also present study track 5. So hang in there. Okay, so what is study track 2? Okay, well, let me back up just a second and first let you know about what the motivation is here. So as Alistair summarized or highlighted, that when we're talking about global change, global warming, and climate, energy, and the environment, there's a lot of interrelated processes here. As we warm up the atmosphere, we put more energy into it, and this can lead to extreme weather events, massive increases in precipitation in some areas of the world, but also it can lead to drought in other parts of the world. In addition, beyond this, these climate interactions can lead to a lot of different geologic hazards, things like flooding, but these processes are very closely linked with humans and society. So they can cause displacement and economic hardship in the case of flooding. They have a whole slew of different public health impacts that occur. And they also lead to social unrest. And pretty much every day when you read the news, you'll read about one of these different boxes here being active somewhere in the world. So our goal is to help you understand how these natural processes associated with global warming interact with different social processes. And the aim here of study track 2 is to focus on the social processes and to help you develop additional strengths in those areas there. So how's this going to work? Well, there's a pairing of universities that occur. So if you choose this study track in semester 2, you would be at the University of Glasgow in the beautiful country of Scotland. And then in semester 3, you'll move to the exciting city of Bucharest for the University of Bucharest, okay? And then, of course, you have the semester 4 following that, where you could choose to do your thesis in one of these other universities here. Just to give you a sense of what these two universities are like that you would study at in this track. So on the left-hand side, you see the main building of the University of Glasgow. It looks a lot like Hogwarts. So if you're a Harry Potter fan, this is where you want to go. On the right-hand side, you see a picture of the University of Bucharest there. Okay, so that's the study locations. So what is Study Track 2 about? Well, the goal here is we want to provide you with an in-depth understanding of the intricacies of socio-ecological transformations that are related to climate change in our globalized world. Okay, it's a big mouthful of different things here, but you'll see when I go through some of the example courses in a minute, the types of things you learn from this. This study track is intended for students with a bachelor's degree in the social sciences or an equivalent degree. Okay, so how does this break down? What actually happens? Well, you arrive at semester 2 at the University of Glasgow, and then we have two different required courses that you would go through. One of them is called Global Challenges. This is a wonderfully designed course that integrates the physical and the social sciences together. So you learn about these types of interactions that I highlighted in the previous diagram with the circle around the Earth. And then a nice aspect of this program also is that you will do a work placement study as part of that course there. So you'll be able to get your hands a little bit dirty on understanding how you apply the skills that are relevant to the study track. Okay, then we give you some choice here. I won't go through all these courses here, but there's different elective courses that you can choose from here, depending on your background and the types of skills that you're attracted to learning more about. So that's the University of Glasgow. Following that then, in semester 3, you would move to the University of Bucharest. And what's listed here is a diverse range of very nice and complementary courses ranging from how finance works for sustainability projects, how to communicate sustainability issues to a diverse audience, how to understand different social controversies that are associated with global change. Okay, so that's the scope of Study Track 2 in semesters 2 and 3 there. What I'm going to do now is just jump in and go on to Study Track 5. Okay, this one is a little bit different. It's titled the Environmental Geosciences track. And in this track, if we go back to this kind of concept we have here of these different physical and social processes, it's focused more on trying to understand the physical drivers that are leading to different social impacts that we see today. So the focus here then is on this aspect in understanding natural processes here. Okay, the way this track works is that in semester 2, you would be at the University of Glasgow, okay? And then the difference is that in semester 3, you would move to the south of France to Aix-en-Marseille University, where you would continue your studies. Then in semester 4, your thesis work could be either with someone at Stockholm University, Glasgow, or Aix-en-Marseille University. And that's for you to choose and for you to develop skills in areas that you're really interested in learning more about. So you've already seen Hogwarts, where the University of Glasgow is located. And on the right-hand side, you see a beautiful image of Aix-en-Marseille University. As you can see, it's in southern France and right on the Mediterranean there. So you get a nice contrast in climate and cultural variations there as well between these two universities. Okay, what are the goals here? In Study Track 5 for Environmental Geosciences, our goal is to provide you with the fundamentals and applied aspects of the geoscience that you need to know to develop the skills required to implement sustainable environmental solutions to address global challenges here, okay? And the courses that follow that you'll see in the next slide are best suited for people who have a background or bachelor's degree in natural sciences or engineering. And it's very broad-based in terms of what we would accept, but there is some knowledge from these fields needed for the courses that we'll go through in just a second here. So how does this work? In semester 2, then, you would be at the University of Glasgow, and there's a series of 4 different courses here that you could take that revolve around trying to understand the Earth's surface and topography, how we monitor landscapes and understand how they're changing, the rates at which they're changing, why they're changing, how we can use computers to understand their evolution, as well as some other more detailed but also related topics there as well. Again, we've set things up so that you have some choice in what you pursue here, and there's 2 different areas you can focus on. We do a lot of work at Glasgow in trying to understand surface water environments, how we monitor them, and how we understand rates at which they are changing. So this would include rivers, lakes, peatlands, things like this. We also have a lot of strength in different computer modeling approaches to look at predictive models for environmental change that will occur in the future. So that's University of Glasgow. Then at Aix-en-Marseille, again, a nice complementary selection of courses that you could have here. What I'd like to highlight is that there's also a large field trip option here for 6 ECTS. What this would involve is going out into nature and actually observing processes, observing the different factors that influence what we observe in natural environments and the drivers for those change there. Then there's a variety of other courses here that relate from either different chemistry techniques that can be used to understand how fast environments are changing. That's the quaternary geochronology thing, but also how you can use satellites to understand the Earth's surface and changes occurring both on the land surface, but also in the biosphere there. Okay, and again, also some options for you to choose from depending on what you want to do. So that's the overview of study track 5 in environmental geosciences, and that's basically all I have to say. I should also mention I won't be around for the questions. However, my super energetic colleague, Christina Persano, is with us today as well, and she can answer any specific questions you might have about University of Glasgow. So thanks so much, everyone. We hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Todd. You really managed to sell Hogwarts as an attractive place to come. So then we move on to study track number 1, Environmental Humanities and Law. And this is Gudrun Sagel from Salzburg. Looks good.
Hello, everybody. Can you see my slides?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you very much. So my name is Gudrun Sagel. I'm an assistant professor of international law here at the University of Salzburg, Austria. And I want to introduce study track 1, Environmental Humanities and Law, to you. So what was our motivation for creating this study track? We all know about the impact of climate change, and scientists have abundant proof that climate change is man-made. But if we look at the existing policies and legal frameworks governing climate change, we see that they do not reflect these needs. So we may wonder why we only need to be climate neutral by 2050, or why we do not just prohibit combustion engines or oil and gas heatings. The problem is that what may be feasible from a science point of view often cannot be implemented easily, and we have political, economic, legal, societal, and ethical challenges to face when developing solutions. Let me give an example. So if we prohibit combustion engines and require the use of electric cars or public transport, this may be feasible in cities. However, on the countryside, we face a lot of challenges, like not everybody will be able to afford an electric car. You need to go to work, you need to bring your kids to school, to do shopping and so on. And this would not work if we have a bus going to town twice a day. So the implementation of feasible solutions requires understanding and taking into account many different perspectives. And this is where study track 1 on environmental humanities and law comes in. Who is the target group? Basically, we address students from all disciplines. So this may be natural scientists, social scientists, lawyers, economists, people coming from humanities, but also doctors, engineers, or architects. So our study track is open to any discipline. And the idea, what we have is that students from different backgrounds and expertises can bring in their own knowledge on climate change, so their in-depth knowledge, but then contribute to developing solutions that take into account different other perspectives. And for that, of course, we need to be able to understand these different perspectives, which is very often not easy if you come from another field. So, for instance, the legal perspective, we use law to address climate change, to change the legal framework. How do we make law do to tackle climate change, but also what can law not do to tackle climate change? We need to consider the economic perspective. What is economically feasible? If we act now, is this economically feasible? What will be the economic costs if we do not act? Yeah. We need to look at the sociological perspective. How do solutions affect different parts of our societies? Yeah. We need to understand communication patterns. How can we communicate solutions? And last but not least, we need to consider ethical questions, because only if we develop ethical solutions, we will have lasting solutions. So who are the participating universities? You will have the first semester in Stockholm, as we have heard before. Then the second semester will be in Salzburg, Austria, at the Paris-Lautrun University. And I'm sorry, I don't have nice pictures of our universities. The third semester will be in Bucharest, and the thesis will then be in Bucharest, in Salzburg, or in Stockholm. So what are the courses offered? And here you see the full number of courses you're going to take. So in Salzburg, you will study several fields of humanities and law that students need to understand for the development of societal solutions. I just mentioned some of the questions we're going to tackle. So we need to consider, for instance, the ethical perspectives of climate change to ensure to have solutions that are accepted by society. We will look into the psychological explanations, for instance, in the field of psychology of climate change. So how does human thinking, feeling, and behavior work, and how can we address this or take this into account when developing solutions? We'll look at the history of environmental and climate change to see what we can learn from the past, how solutions have been or how problems have been addressed in the past, what did work, what did not work, and so on. We will, in the Bucharest semester, then we will go more in depth in the field of environmental philosophy, history, eco-archaeology, demography, social ecology, and critical thinking. And students will acquire a new framework and style of thought based on holistic and systemic approaches used by life sciences. So you will discuss issues like the tragedy of the commons, the rights of the future generations, and sustainability, or also how to deal with complexity and uncertainty. What are the intended learning outcomes, or what will you achieve when taking this study track? So you will be able to understand the arguments and methodologies of other disciplines. And we said we will need this to develop solutions. So you will be able to communicate and to facilitate communication between different disciplines and facilitate dialogue, which is essential to develop sustainable and lasting solutions. So what fields of work may be open to you after that? So you may contribute in any political processes to develop solutions to climate, energy transition, and environmental problems in governments at the political level, in companies, in civil society organizations, or also in the field of research in academia. We are very much looking forward to welcome you to Salzburg and Bucharest if you choose to take that study track. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gudrun. So we move on to study track number 7, environmental risk and mitigation. And here we have a presentation by Pietro de Anna from Lausanne in Switzerland. And your slide looks good. But we do not hear you yet.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Excellent. Can you see my slide as well?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I am Pietro De Anna. I am a professor at the University of Lausanne. I'm a physicist myself, and I teach mathematics, but also laboratory methods. Environmental risk refers to potential hazards for environment and human health, such as water pollution, air pollution, but also landslides, volcanic activities, or the consequences of biological species migration or their extinction. These hazards can impact individuals as well as the whole society directly or indirectly through individual lifestyle or general policy choices. And these choices should be well informed. Risk is generally dependent on the probability of the occurrence of an event and also by the severity of its consequences. To assess environmental risk and to properly mitigate their occurrence in a rapidly changing world is a strong challenge that we must face. And for this reason, we designed a study track number 7 that is best suited for those of you that have a bachelor in environmental or in natural sciences. After you will take the first semester at the Stockholm University, you will spend the second semester here in Lausanne, where I teach. Lausanne is in the western and French-speaking part of Switzerland, and the third semester in Rome, the capital of Italy, in the central and coastal areas of Italy. The program after the first semester of the Stockholm University offers along the 2 semesters in Lausanne and Rome a training in the analysis of natural hazards in diverse scenarios, from the study of physical, chemical processes through their management via quantification of their probability of occurrence in different conditions. The 2 main scenarios for risk that will be taught in this study track are mountain environments, specifically in the UNIL semester, and oceanic environments, specifically at the La Sapienza University of Rome. If you decide to enroll this study track, you will acquire advanced experience in field and laboratory analysis, as well as theories to assess natural hazards and to define the best mitigation strategy, for instance, to develop and plan actions aimed to mitigate, for instance, volcanic disasters. You will develop practical experience in data acquisition mapping, the analysis of this data, modeling this data, and monitoring methods for estimation of natural risk, and for the development and the management of warning systems and evaluation of strategies for risk reduction. Among other things, you will learn about the impact of climate change, on biological species invasion, risk of extinction, translocation and reintroduction, and restoration of ecology. About geological storage techniques. For instance, there will be a case study on CO2. You will learn about tools for seabed exploration, planning and use of tools like lidars and drones, and interpretation of mountains and marine surveys, geological spatial methods analysis, geospatial analysis methods, including GIS, so geographic information systems, and remote sensing methods. Moreover, you will learn how to decipher the complex relationship between abiotic and biotic components of the environment in a comprehensive view. So integrating biological, ecological, but also chemical, physical, and geological hazards, also taking into account the human presence and the interference. We will teach you how to get insight into current research related to natural hazards evaluation to be considered as a starting point for further evaluation to be of the associated natural risk. So finally, you will learn when and what type of laboratory analysis or field work are needed to produce the necessary data to estimate environmental risk. This is essential to conceive, plan, and organize mitigation strategies. Therefore, we will also teach you about how to communicate and support decision on the management of natural hazard in different environments by involving stakeholders, decision makers, and the scientific community. So this is the overall list of the classes that you will take during semester 2 at the University of Lausanne and during semester 3 at La Sapienza in Rome. So that's all for the overview on the study track number 7. Thank you so much, everyone, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Pietro. So with that, we move on to study track number 8, Transdisciplinary Approaches to Climate Change Studies, presented by Tom Bowler in Brussels.
Yes, hi. Is that fine?
Yes, looks good.
Yeah. Good morning to everybody. My name is Tom Bowler. I'm working at the Free University of Brussels. And I'm presenting you this study track, which is a little bit original with respect to the other study tracks because we have a slightly different organization. But I'll come back to that in a couple of minutes. The idea very much with our track is to try to help you further understand the underlying scientific issues and combine them with societal needs and try to help you actually to grasp the dynamics, the socio-environmental, political, and societal dynamics, which will help our society to tackle challenges. Why is it differently organized? Because as you by now got the idea, the first semester is for everybody in Stockholm. In our study track, the second semester will be developed by Salzburg. And then the third and the fourth semester will be happening actually for an entire year, academic year, obviously, in Brussels. So that is a little bit more specific, special than the other tracks, where the fourth semester is not necessarily in line with the third semester, and it's very much a matter of choice. If you go on our track, we would like to have you a full year, and that is basically because we try to develop quite a strong and deep knowledge of transdisciplinarity, co-creation, co-problematization with people, with stakeholders, with people, with activists, with actors. And that needs actually that you are present and that you feel the speciality of Brussels and of where you are, of the communities, of the actors which you would engage with. So the learning in the third and the fourth semester is very much based on project-based learning. We don't have much courses, classical courses, but we have quite a lot of projects. We run with living labs. We have a Civis living lab over here, a big one, which does develop quite a lot of interesting things, interactions with actors, and you will be part of that also. And we would drive you into societal engagement also, which is a long-standing tradition at our university. And then finally, we'd also have you to develop a master thesis in Brussels with us. That does not mean that it could not engage other scholars you met in the first and the second semester. but still we would like to have you in Brussels for that entire year. So that is a little bit specific, I guess. Okay, so the second semester is in Salzburg. I did find actually nice pictures of Salzburg. So that's you can see what it looks like. Salzburg is in Austria, as you know. It's not far from the mountains. The semester is led by Andreas, and I think he's somewhere also in the call. So if you have questions to him later, there's that possibility is given. And you see here the list of courses. There's climate history, environmental history, there's law, risk management. There's obviously something with specific to the location about alpine settings, natural hazards, environmental data, an idea of tipping points, and then there's also a course on society in the Anthropocene. Then the third and the fourth semester is going to happen in Brussels. Well, for a master course, which is organized at the European level somehow, because you travel quite a lot. Brussels obviously has an interest because it is the capital of Europe. And a lot of stuff is decided, configured in terms of policy, is decided and configured over here, just across the street, actually. These are the buildings on the left-hand, lower left-hand side, the picture, that's our university. It is absolutely not as old as Oxford or whatever. This is actually sort of neoclassical stuff built in the 19th century. And then just above, you have that other building, that's the European Parliament. There's like 20, 30,000 lobbyists in Belgium. And these lobbyists, they include really badass lawyers, but also very classy activists. And you are actually, just because it is close and across the street, this is an opportunity to engage with these stakeholders. Engaging means actually also in Brussels that you come across on a daily basis with what could be called societal unrest or opposition, resistances. We have every week somebody nagging around in the streets, and over the last 2 years, most of the nagging around the streets has some environmental, some sustainability component to it, and you could engage with these, obviously. So here's roughly the courses or the study units, as we tell them, which you would encounter in Brussels. There's a first course on action for change. The idea is not only to show you why there should be change, but also to show you how to do change. Science is social science, humanities is very elaborate on conceptualizing and empirically exploring change. And there is something into showing students actually how change is conceptualized and how does it go on. You will meet also actors very early in September around this course. We have a course which mixes law and economics, which is pretty interesting. And then there's the interdisciplinary project is a course running over the entire year. So it's for the 2 semesters. That's a project-based learning. It's like a living lab. It involves real actors who come to the universities and work with students on hands-on problems. And students help to bring in information and to vulgarize, if you want, scientific information for stakeholders. There's a batch of elective courses, which are, most of them are more classical courses, except the last one, The Life of Environmental Numbers, which tries to give a sociological or philosophical idea on what numbers produce and how we as scientists produce numbers. There's a big bunch on with an internship that could be more or less research based or more or less societally based. As I said, there are a lot of structures in Brussels which work on socio-ecological issues, lobbying, activists, firms, etc., but also the administrations from the European level to the local level. And you could engage with these during an internship. And then there's a master dissertation, which we see in combination with the internship to a certain extent, but that obviously has to be discussed. And yeah, I'm not alone. There's me, but there's Wouter Achten also, who is a bioengineer working on impact assessment, and Louis Knops, who is a politologist working on political ecology. Thanks for listening and looking forward.
Thank you very much, Tom. So we move on to the last study track, number 9, Global Change Biology, and we have Jonathan Magri from Rome.
Good morning. Can you see my presentation? I think so.
Yes, it is.
My name is Donatella Magri. I am a professor of botany at Sapienza, University of Rome, and I prepared this presentation with my colleague, Professor Virginie Baldi from Aix-Marseille University. So a few words on study track 9, which is centered on global change biology issues. And in particular, it is focused on biodiversity study and conservation, ecological interactions at different geographical and temporal scales, as well as on the impacts of global change on biodiversity and the distribution of organisms. So after the first semester in Stockholm, study track 9 is run at Sapienza University of Rome in Italy in the second semester, and Aix-Marseille University in France in the third semester. And the fourth semester is then devoted to a transdisciplinary thesis in any of these 3 partner universities. So just a few words on Sapienza and Aix-Marseille universities, which are the largest multidisciplinary universities in Italy and France, respectively. So apart from the numbers that you read on the screen, I have numbers and no nice pictures. This means that students are offered plenty of students' life possibility at both universities. Study track 9 is open to students with a bachelor degree in natural sciences or equivalent degree. Graduates will be awarded a multiple degree, including a Master of Science in Transdisciplinary Studies of Climate, Environment and Energy at Stockholm University, a Master of Science in Natural Sciences at Sapienza University, and a Master of Science in Biodiversity, Ecology and Evolution and Aix-Marseille universities. So I'm not going into the details of the exams. A semester in Rome includes subjects like global change biology, paleoecology and climate change, and chemiometrics, that is a statistical treatment of big data. Well, semester 3 is more practical in Aix-Marseille, with the teachings of ecology, ecosystem services, and statistical modeling, as well as training with professional tools. Students will be prepared through a combination of scientific, theory, and practical field-based activities to address complex environmental challenges. So the main learning outcomes of this study track include an integrated knowledge of biotic and abiotic interactions and responses of biodiversity to past, present, and future climatic and environmental change. Ability to apply the scientific methods to real case studies facing biodiversity challenges. Ability to preserve and manage biodiversity, communicate and promote naturalistic awareness with diverse audiences. And the capacity to plan and implement informed conservation actions in the territory and in real-world situations. So I conclude with a few images of the challenges that the study track 9 focuses on. So we are available to answer your questions, and you find more information on the CIVIS website. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Donatella. So with that, you have heard information about all the study tracks that are available for admission 2025. And we move on to practical information, including how to apply. And many of the questions I see in the Q&A function will hopefully be answered now by Erik and Ann-Kristin. So as soon as Donatella has stopped sharing her screen, we can move on. Yeah, now.
Okay, does it look okay now for everyone?
No, we don't see anything, I guess.
You don't see anything?
No, we see.
Okay.
Yeah, now it is. But
yeah.
Now
Okay.
Yeah, presentation mode.
Yes. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Ann-Kristin Wiklund, and I am Head of Education at the host department, and I will share this time slot with Erik Rosenberg from the Student Services. And as Anna said, now we leave content of the program, and we will talk about practicalities. I will talk about application and admission and how the process is going to take place. First of all, you have to find the website of the program. You will find that through the CIVIS website, but you can also find it directly in the Stockholm University course catalog and with this QR code, which you all will receive later on today. As you have heard and been presented to you now, we have several study tracks. And if you go to the program overview, you can read more in detail and see this information that you just received once more. And when you have come to the program overview, you have you read about the study tracks, you check if you fulfill the requirements, and you make up your mind. What am I most interested in? And you rank your choices, because during the application you can apply to more than one study track. And when you have done so, you press the apply button, and then you will end up at the university admission platform. On the university admission platform, you will get information on how to make an account, because you may have to make an account in order to continue with the application process. But this is described in detail. Also, there is detailed information depending on your country, for instance, how you fulfill the English requirements. And on this site, there is specific info depending on your country and what type of studies fulfills especially the English criteria. And it could be that you have to make a test, but it can also be so that what you have been studying before is enough to fulfill the English requirements. During this admission process, you also have to provide a bunch of documents. And here is a list of what we want you to provide: transcript of records, a CV, proof of your English proficiency, and of course it will depend, as I said, depending on where you have been performing your previous studies, a copy of your ID or passport, a proof of your current country of residence, this is important when you are going to continue a diploma. You will also fill in a study track application supplement, which I will tell you a little bit more in a minute. And important, if you are on your last bachelor year, we need proof that you are studying, and which has to be provided with help of your university. We will send all this in a letter to you, including all the important dates for this process. And in the letter, and also on our website, there will be a link to this supplementary form that you have to fill in. And in this form, you describe your previous studies and how your previous studies will fulfill the admission criteria. And also, here we want you to write a motivation letter, why you are interested in taking this program and how your background is sort of has helped you come up to why this is important to you. Then, when all this has been done, there will be a selection process, and the selection will be based on your grades and this motivation letter. And in the application process, there will be a ranking of candidates within each study track. And as I previously said, if you apply to multiple study tracks, you rank them in the application process. And here are the important dates of the program. On Monday, it opens. On March 31st, it closes. And we have the potential to have also 2 weeks of late application, which we haven't decided if we should continue to have, but this is an opportunity for us. April 14th is the last day to provide the documents. If you don't do that, you will not be able to proceed in the admission process. During April and May, within each study track, there will be a selection process of the students. And on June 2nd, the admission results are published. Finally, as you have to pay a participation cost to go in this program, June 15th will be the last day to pay this participation cost. And I would really like to say that welcome to Stockholm in August. And now my colleague Eric will continue to talk about details of student services and mobilities and potential scholarships, etc. So please, Eric.
Thank you. So also going to try to share the screen and hope that that works. Should. Is it in presentation mode and visible for you all now?
Yes, looks good.
Perfect, thank you. So as Ann-Kristin said, I'm Erik, working at Stockholm University at our international office. And I'm going to talk about some more practicalities aside from the one Ann-Kristin went through. Firstly, I just want to say something about, we've heard a lot of it already, but I think it's worth to stress again, since it's kind of the uniqueness, or some of the uniqueness of this program, the transdisciplinarity of the program. And as you noticed also, it's transnational in the sense that you will be moving around through Europe throughout the program. meeting a new country and a new university, and also a new culture for each semester, or at least every second semester. It's a multilingual program in the sense that from us speaking today, I think we have two native English speakers, and the program will be taught in English, but of course we encourage you to also engage in all the local languages throughout Europe and the countries where you will be going through the program. And the result of all of these things will hopefully, or most certainly be huge personal development on your side, and you will have the experience and knowledge how to meet different settings and different cultures also. And I mean, even if we're moving mainly through Europe, cultural differences can be quite significant at times, as you will realize. I will talk about what I've seen that some people have asked in the Q&A already, and it's about the economy part of the program. And let's see, there is a participation cost to the program for all students. If you are a citizen in the EU or in the so-called EEA countries, the cost per academic year is 4,500 euros. If you are what we in Europe call the third country student, meaning you're from outside of the EU or the EEA, the cost is 9,000 euros per academic year. So those sums times two for the full program. Ann-Kristin already mentioned that there is payment deadline for the participation cost to start the program this fall of 25, and that deadline is June 15. And then you will be paying for each semester beforehand, so to speak, throughout the program. And the next deadline for paying for the spring semester of 26 will be November 15. If there are possibilities for mobility scholarships during your studies in this program, it's not guaranteed, and you need to meet the eligibility criteria for the Erasmus Mobility Scholarship. This is a scholarship that will not cover the participation costs. It will be financial aid to help you along somehow through the program. And you can be granted this for a maximum of 2 semesters within the program, and not for the first semester here in Stockholm, but during the first semester in Stockholm, you will be able to apply for these mobility grants that are approximately 500 euros per month. And that is then for 2 semesters that you can be granted this maximum, provided, of course, that you meet all the entry requirements and eligibilities for said grants. But again, I think it's important to stress that this is not to cover the participation cost. It's for an additional, well, just an aid, financial aid for you to be able to somehow more comfortably get through the program. So those are duties or responsibilities for you. We also have responsibilities as a consortium, and it's toward teaching this program. And when you get admitted to the program and start it, you will be signing a student contract. It's a 2-party contract that you'll be signing together with the head of the program, representing the full consortium. It states your personal responsibilities as a student within the program, and it also states the responsibility that we have towards you throughout the program. We will present you a student handbook containing, hopefully, all relevant information, both academical and practical, that you need to get through the program smoothly, or somehow smoothly at least. So that will be handed out to each student at the start of the program. Through the masters, you are insured by the consortium. This is a student insurance, and that is included in the participation cost for all students for all 4 semesters. But of course, if you have some special needs that need to be addressed insurance-wise, make sure that the insurance we provide you with covers those needs. If not, you will then be required to make sure you have that yourself at your own cost. If you are a student from the EU or the EEA, moving throughout Europe and between the universities is fairly simple businesses. If you're not, you need to apply for a resident permit. Since you all start in Stockholm in Sweden, you apply for resident permit for studies in Sweden for a 2-year period of time, and you also notify in this application that you will be taking a master's program with that includes mobilities within Europe. Again, costs linked to the application is not included in the participation cost. So that's for you yourself to pay for. And then throughout the program, you will hopefully only need to notify the next country you're moving to that you are arriving to France or Romania, or wherever you go, unless you're going to the UK in Glasgow or Lausanne in Switzerland, then you will need to make an entirely new application for resident permit there. And another practicality that I know we've already received quite a lot of questions about is housing. Of course, there's quite a lot of logistics linked to this program for you as well as individuals, since you will be moving every semester, more or less. You will be provided info from each university in good time on how to apply for housing and where you can apply for housing, but there is no housing guarantee. You will get information on best practice in order to make sure you will find some place to live. But again, it's not a housing guarantee, and rent is not included in the participation costs. But trust on getting information on where to best turn in order to arrange for your accommodation. And this slide, I mean, again, I want to stress that you will be moving quite a lot when admitted to this program. It will be a new scene, a new social setting for each semester. But you also realize by now that you will all be starting in Stockholm. And depending on your study track, the movement is to a new university in a new country, each or every second semester. The mobility schemes are fixed for each study track. And you've all heard that when the study tracks were just presented. And you also heard that there are some flexibilities or options regarding the thesis projects in the 4th semester. But in general, the mobility schemes are fixed for each track. I've also said already that routines and advices from us as a consortium and universities are provided for you to help these movements run as smooth as possible. But you are indeed required to do a lot of work yourself as well to make this happen properly. But we're here to help and give you the proper information, at least, to make it happen as smooth as possible. The program will start with a kickoff in Stockholm, where you will be able to meet the academic staff of Stockholm, the admin staff of Stockholm, and hopefully quite a lot of admin and academic staff from other universities that you will go to later on in the program as well. It will be a mixture of online and on-site presence from all staff, and it will be an introduction also to the program-wide routines that we have. Then, as you move along to each university, you will also be able to take part of local welcome activities at each university where you come, and be introduced to those local routines and the local rules and regulations you need to be aware of when you move. And that was what I had to say for now. I hope I've answered some of the questions in the Q&A that I saw popping up earlier on, but there might be something that's in need of clarification.
Thank you, Erik. Thank you, Ann-Christine. Wow, we're almost on time. Almost. So then it's time for Q&A, and I ask all of you to turn your cameras on, all the panelists. I see then that there are several questions about mobility and the need. Do we need, as a student, then, do we need to be present in Stockholm or move around? And Alistair, do you want to say something about this, please?
Sure. Yes, you do, is the simple answer to that question. This is a mobility program. We want you to build a community together in Stockholm. You all move together to be with us. It's actually the lecturers that we will import and we'll connect online so that you become a consortium together. So this is a mobility program.
But it's also a full-time program, so we expect you to having to spend 100% of your or full time on the studies.
Yeah, we have a
There are
wonderful
also
schedule.
yes.
We have
Yes.
a wonderful schedule for you for the first semester, but it is 9 to 5 every day. Lots and lots of stuff to do. You won't be bored.
Sure. That's good. I also see that there are many questions about costs, of course, and whether there are scholarships. And Erik, you described that we have this support potential for Erasmus support, which is not a full scholarship. For 2025, we do not have Erasmus Mundus funding, so we cannot offer scholarships. We have applied, we submitted an application for this this week. So we hope we can offer this for 2026 and onwards. And then if we would get that, hopefully we will, there will be scholarships available for some of the students taking the program. I should also say then that some of you ask about who can apply. Can we apply from all over the world? And the answer is yes. I mean, we hope that we can gather students from all over the world. And Donatella, you also emphasized this. Having said that, though, for 2025, we are a bit late in opening the admission. We welcome all students to apply, but it might be a tight schedule for some of you to get migration and visum and everything in place in time for 2025. In any case, 2026 will be, admission will open earlier, and we really, really hope we will have applicants from all over the world. So then we move to the open questions. There are some questions about students who already have a master's degree and maybe even research experience. And this connects then to the motivation letter that we have. So Ann-Christine, do you want to say something about, is it good or bad or not at all to have a degree already? Is this a problem?
It's not a problem to have a degree from before, of course, and I really think that you can, if you're interested in to sort of, if you have a master that is really specialized in something, I think that combining your old master with this new broader transdisciplinary master could be sort of a great combination, because then you will have even more depth in combination with the breadth that we will provide you with here.
Yes, I agree. And then maybe also for you, Ann-Christine, there is a question about if someone has already done interdisciplinary studies, social sustainability, and there might be then a lot of overlap with the first year. Can I adjust the first semester to that?
I would say things like that, they have to be considered on a case-by-case basis. But of course, an important thing with this program is also that the first semester is building a group, building a team. So we don't think it's all about the content. It's also about you as a group being a group together, and will sort of be able to be that for the rest of your lives. And if you will be able to sort of skip the first semester, then you will go to another university somewhere, and you will not be part of this team. So theoretically, yes, but I would not advise. And most likely, you would not be able to use all your credits to fulfill the 30 credit semester that we will offer.
Yeah. So the short answer is it will be assessed on a case-by-case basis, and we really recommend you to take the full program. Then there's a specific question to study track 2. Christina, I guess that is for you then. Is it eligible for engineering students?
So, hi. Well, we have written in the regulation that students with a social science background are the students that should find this program interesting, but also not too difficult. Now, we can decide on a case by case. So somebody could have an engineering degree, but then being very used to the language the social scientists use. The issue is being confident to use that language of social science that, as Alistair was saying, is a little bit different from the language that the physical scientists or engineers. So case by case, I would say.
Good, thank you. Then we have here a key question from Melissa. To what extent does this master provide in-depth knowledge, especially for tracks related to natural sciences? Do the courses offered at each university build upon what was studied in the previous semester? Or is there a risk that the programs remain too broad and not sufficiently developed in certain areas? Thank you. So maybe this is a question then to Pietro, Donatella. Do you want to answer this?
Yes, I'm happy to answer. No, I believe that the 2 semesters that are in the case of tracks 7 and 9, for example, they are really how to say, scientifically based. So there is no risk to have a too broad formation. But you can have a specific knowledge on specific subject as well, and especially then you can deepen your knowledge when you do your master thesis work as well. So in that case, you can really apply what you have studied. So I'm really confident that you get a very solid scientific formation as well.
Yeah. Are you happy with that answer, Pietro, or there's anything you want to add?
Yes, of course. I'm very happy about the answer of Donatella. So these classes are really designed for you not only to receive knowledge, but to stimulate your creativity, and in this sense is a deep understanding of the processes.
Thank you. Sophie, do you want to add anything about how we're thinking around course semester 1 about breadth versus depth?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm iterating what's already been said by a lot of the other panelists, but I think the idea in semester 1, it will likely be a lot more kind of breadth because, everyone will be studying all of these different things. But at the same time, the idea is that maybe in certain exercises, maybe you'll be doing something slightly different if you would like to look into something into more depth or something like this. And there's also a lot of kind of working with one another. So it's not just learning about the subject again at a level that's a bit basic for you, but it's actually learning about how to see it from different perspectives and learning how to communicate it to other people. So yes, and then when you go into semesters 2 and 3, this is where the depth is really built up. So I think we're trying to cover both.
Good, thank you. Then there's another type of question that is about support for students with ADHD or other conditions, and how will this work then moving between universities? So I throw this question to all the different study tracks representatives there here. Can anyone say something about whether there is support for these students at your university, and to assure the student that you have it? Peter, you raise your hand.
Yes, so at the University of Lausanne, for sure, students with different kind of disabilities, they can have support for the exams, but also for the classes if they are willing to share before the class begin with administration the type of disorder they go through. As teachers, we go through trainings to support this type of request, to help students to take the classes and be able to follow them properly and to have a fair examination.
Anyone else who wants to add?
Yes, exactly the same at Sapienza University of Rome. We go through training as teachers, and students have a specific support depending on their specific problem or situation.
You? So here's another question. Will the students that graduate get a joint degree from all universities? And this is a question we can say yes and no to. Ann-Kristin, do you want to elaborate a bit about this?
Yes, I can. Depending on the study track, you will either get a joint or a multiple degree, because it depends on the rules and regulation at the specific universities. At some of the universities, you will get, in some of the study tracks, you will get a joint degree, and in others you will get a multiple degree, including all the universities you have been studying at. So then you have sort of a triple degree.
So and when Ann-Kristin presented before, she showed you or indicated that there is more information available at the program web page at Stockholm University, and there it's also described the type of degree you get for each study track. There's more information. There is also an email address that you can write to in order to get more answers. And
we can also include that this info will of course also be available in the student handbook, that will be online.
Okay, there were also questions, some of them answered, but I think we should bring them up still. There was one question about career paths. And Alistair, you indicated some options in a reply, but maybe we can talk a bit more about where we see that our future alumni might find jobs. We are confident that they will find jobs, but what kind of jobs? Alistair, do you want to start?
So we envisage our graduates are the type of people who are going to be working on, for example, the European Green Deal. That will be in at local, regional, and international levels. We envisage that you will be working for. I'm just thinking this is ridiculous. I'm a native English speaker, and I'm trying to work out what the word myndighet is in English.
Authority, perhaps?
And working with, thank you. That's having lived in Sweden for this long, I've kind of begin to be more of a Swedish speaker. Working with local authorities engaged in caring for the environment, such as environmental protection agencies, you're going to be exactly the right scholar that these type of organizations are going to be looking for, because your knowledge because you're going to be able to not only do this, understand these fields such as economy and environment and so on, but you'll also be able to communicate about it, which is going to make you exceptionally employable. We've actually done a whole bunch of research in putting together the Erasmus Mundus application, where we've specifically looked to check that there really are lots of employment opportunities in the growing green sector within Europe. So I feel very confident that getting a job is going to be not a problem when you're finished with the TRACEE degree.
I agree. Of course, we must believe in this as we are creating this program. But so what we see is that our students, when you get a degree from us, you will be important in the transition, in the green transition. So, and this process requires, right, that we think in a different way than we've done before, because the way we've done before, it has been a lot of disciplinarity, and we need experts still. Of course, society will always need experts with a thorough disciplinary expertise. But thinking new, doing something in a different way require also that we educate for that. And this is what we want to do with this program. We want to educate people who can think across disciplines, who can understand the problem from a cross-disciplinary perspective, and also come with solutions then, so that we avoid creating new progress traps, that we just create new problems by the solutions that we are trying to apply. So we see, as Alistair mentioned, we see that you could work from local, regional, national to international level as a consultant, as an expert, in industry, in authorities, and also in policy organizations and NGOs. And this might also be reflected in the degree projects that you do for your fourth semester. And there are some questions about the degree projects as well, and maybe we should elaborate a bit more about that. Tom, you gave some examples of degree projects that you've had in Brussels. Do you want to, is there something you can say about how do you go about to identify these projects?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's very specific to a certain extent, and it depends very much on each student, but in general, to our knowledge, so we have obviously an environmental studies master right now. So we have students quite a lot actually, and since quite a lot of time. And what we see is that well, most of the students, when they enter the master's program, they have a very precise idea of their interests, and they auto-develop basically their research questions, or at least the problematic they would like to tackle with. And so there's not much of a problem actually to help them identify what they would like to do as a master thesis. And once you have that, we have experience, and we have also assistants and alumni who help us then to distill these research questions into real world problems, and to find actors whom it would be interesting to work on these projects. But basically it's a matter of each student trying to explore and to dive into the real world, and to do that sort of translation between university and the real world. And it is very, very rewarding also for us as researchers to see that happen, because actually we see that students are much more intelligent to do that than we are. Sitting for decades in universities, we are sort of linked to our communities and our ways of doing, and students actually are very much open and fresh to do this, and it's not much of a problem. But there's support. We have assistants doing this. We do this since roughly a decade and a half, and it works quite well, I have the impression. And basically, when everything aligns, people come up with a very, very interesting work, which is valuable for the students, for the stakeholders, and also for the promoters.
Thank you. Sophie, is there anything you would like to say about how we want to prepare our students for the fourth semester? You've talked about the transdisciplinary stream, But do you have anything you would like to add here to inform our potential students?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the master's project with this degree will be quite different, perhaps, from one that you might have done with a more disciplinary focused one. So the idea is that you really do something that's kind of it's solving a real problem, it's interacting with stakeholders, people in the community, and maybe it's crossing different disciplines. And I think this is something that's probably quite different for the students, and it's quite different probably for the supervisors as well. So we're going to work closely with both. So we've got the transdisciplinary stream to prepare you as students to understand really what is expected from this and what kind of project you might be able to do, and to help you to network with potential supervisors. But we'll work with the supervisors as well. So the idea is that by the time we get there, everyone really understands what this is about, and yeah, we'll be able to do some things that are really interesting and useful.
Thank you. So basically, in any of the study tracks, you will, I mean, in the disciplinary study tracks, you will deepen your knowledge within that specific topic. So let's say global change biology. And so you might then, or as you learn about this, you might then want to, you find a topic that you would like to do your degree project on. And then you discuss with teachers and with the transdisciplinary stream coordinators how to find a transdisciplinary perspective on this issue. And this could be, for instance, what kind of mitigation strategies could there be for biodiversity in a river? And there you could, I mean, you might need to involve stakeholders, maybe the local sewage treatment plant, which emits chemicals into the river, or yeah. So there, I mean, it could be so many different things. And we will be there to support you in developing this. And there will be a working group consisting of teachers from all the different study tracks, to which you students will submit project plans for your fourth semester. And this working group will review them and specifically look at the transdisciplinarity aspect of the project to help you, to guide you, and come with comments and suggestions for how you can adjust so that it really is a transdisciplinary project. Is there anything any of you study track representatives would like to add regarding the fourth semester and the projects? No? Then I know, Sophie, you need to leave, and thank you for joining us so far.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So I've also seen questions about whether it is possible to take only one semester to take a part of the program. And I don't know who wants to answer that. Is that a question to Ann-Christine again, perhaps?
The idea regarding the program is that it should not be possible to do so. However, we might discuss if it will be possible as an exchange semester or something. But our idea is that the courses are within the program.
Well, right now it is it's a full program, and of course some of the courses are available at each of the individual universities that one can also apply for, but then it's not through TRACEE. Let's see, I'm going through there are several questions about the English requirements, but I think maybe we don't bring them up individually here. We can provide an answer and also link to the information that is available on admission, so that you can read there. Would there be enough time to get a part-time job in parallel in order to support the studies? Alistair, I turn to you again. What's your answer to this?
My honest answer is I can understand that given it does cost a lot to participate in the program. That for some that would make the difference to allow some students to participate, particularly in semester one, which is you won't be able to get. Maybe for the follow-up semesters, one could get some support through Erasmus, but not for the first semester. So working part-time to a smaller extent probably would work. But I would not encourage working a huge amount of hours because the studies are full-time, but a lot of students at Stockholm University do have evening jobs. And that is the way I fully understand that's how students survive. So it's not a no. One could do that to a certain extent, but I would encourage you to keep the hours down so that you can and absolutely make sure it's evening style work, because we do have activities all day, every day from the 1st of September to the 19th of December when the semester ends.
Thank you. Then there is another question. I think this is for Erik. Yes, you're still here. So if not Erasmus Mundus is available until 2026, what other scholarship options are offered? And you mentioned this in your presentation, but maybe do you just want to repeat this briefly?
Sure. And as Alistair also mentioned right now, you might be able to get the Erasmus Mobility Funds for 2 semesters within the program, not for the first semesters, but while you're in Stockholm, you can apply to get the Erasmus Mobility Funds for 2 semesters following the first one. But this scholarship is around 500 euros per month and will, of course, not cover the participation costs, but could be a welcome addition to maybe a few hours of part-time job, etc., in order to make the economy add up in the end for you. But aside from that, we have no link to the program scholarships available, unfortunately. No scholarships for the actual participation cost.
Yeah. Then there is a question, and this is for Ann-Christine again. So if I choose to apply to multiple tracks, do I need to write a separate motivation letter for each?
Yes, but the motivation form, there is not a huge difference between the motivation requirements, but as the students will be, the way we will handle the documentation is that each study track, there will be a specific ranking among the universities within each study track. So the answer is yes, but most likely you could write a relatively shave motivation letter, as your background will be the same. If you have studied law before, you have to motivate why this would be good for a particular study track. And I think I will end there. The answer is yes.
Yeah, good. The environmental geosciences track specify that there will be a field trip. Do the other tracks have field trips as well, or are they more desk-based? So here we turn to the study tracks. Gudrun, Christina, Tom, Donatella, Pietro. Donatella?
Definitely for study track 9 in Aix-Marseille and Rome, there will be field work, definitely.
Also for the University of Lausanne, and part of the cost will be supported by our institutes.
Christina, is there anything you want to say?
Yes, we do have field classes, and they will be for Glasgow, they will be free of charge. I wanted to say something about part-time. Remember that Glasgow is in Scotland, Scotland is in the UK, and we're not part of the EU. So to work to have a permission to work in the UK, you need to have a particular visa. So just to be aware of this. It's not impossible, but you need to have a particular visa.
Yeah, good point. Good one. For your, maybe there's not field work, but perhaps internships are possible?
Field work we do not have. Our sciences are mostly desk-based, but of course in the individual courses there may be an invitation of experts or possibilities to do small excursions on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah. And Tom, you already described your study track and that there is also a lot of active engagement, right?
Yeah, there's field work or empirical work in the field, but there's not like a field trip in the geological science sort of sense. Like we don't go a week somewhere and sleep there, but there's field work involved. Yeah, empirical field work. Yes.
Good. And Alistair.
Sorry, maybe I can add for study track 8. And so in Salzburg there is a lot of field work in the Austrian Alps. Yeah.
True. Yeah, on the risk and mitigation. Yeah, thank you. Alistair.
Yeah, I just want to say that for the first semester, there are several field activities, some of which are with a couple of overnights. They'll all be in fairly close to Stockholm and all in really nice places.
Thank you. And so maybe the last question, which is then again to Erik, and which is something you mentioned, but it's worth bringing up again. Will students get help to find housing when moving around to 3 different locations?
We have no housing guarantees. You will get information on where to best apply and how and when best to apply for housing. But unfortunately, we have no housing guarantees. And there are places you might go to that are where the market is easier and it's easier to find housing. And then there are places you come to where it's more tricky. So this will be something that you will need to spend some kind of time on in order to make it happen properly. But you will get aid in the sense of where to turn and when to turn there throughout the program. I think that's the best I can give you, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I mean, it might be challenging in some cases to find housing, but we wouldn't create this program if we didn't think it would be possible. No. So there is support and we will do our best to help you. With that, I think we are ready to end this session. And I thank all of you who are still here to listen and who have asked questions, and all the panelists who have answered and contributed with presentations. And material will be provided to all of you who are here to listen. And we hope to see you in Stockholm on September 1st.